well. So I hope I don't blast your eardrums as we do this. Yeah, I'm Melissa. I'm a librarian. I manage our Center for Innovation here at the Fayetteville Public Library, and I'm super excited to talk to you all about libraries today and sanctuary. I'm going to start a stopwatch here because I will talk either really quickly, very excitedly, and it'll be over in 5 minutes, or I'll talk for 45 minutes and get into the weeds, so I'm going to track myself here. But to get us started, let's see. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. There'll be a few silly pictures scattered about. I don't take myself very seriously. I take what I do pretty seriously. I take what we do here at the library very seriously, but myself, not so much, and you'll learn that as we go this morning. To get us started, I'm going to give you a quick introduction about myself. A little 3 to 4 minutes of who I am, why I'm here at the library, why libraries are sanctuaries to me. And over this next 4 minutes, I want you to keep an eye on things because I've weaved in a lie somewhere in here, okay? Just gonna keep you on your toes, keep you watching. It's a silly thing, but at the end of this whole presentation, we'll vote on what we all think the lie is in this introduction. Just in the introduction. There's no other lies throughout, so don't worry about that. I'm not gonna be starting our day really instilling trust from the speaker, totally. It's the right way to go, especially in libraries, but here we go. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about how I got here, why I am the way I am, and some things that are really important to me. So just a very, very brief background going way back. I am from a place in Central Florida. So I grew up in Florida in a town on the Gulf Coast. You can see it up there in the corner. What was really interesting about growing up in this town is that it was a retiree community for circus performers. There's a lot of reasons behind it. One of the big reasons is they had very lax zoning laws in this town, so it was not uncommon to walk around the neighborhood and see someone that had a Ferris wheel set up in their front yard, along with their camper trailers and a cage full of monkeys and a cotton candy stand out front. So it was a really interesting place to grow up. Not super cute, very strange. Low-key, my neighbor was actually convicted of the murder for hire of world-famous Lobster Boy. For lack of a better PC term, the self-proclaimed freak show people were a big draw to this town in Florida. So just a weird thing about the place I'm from. And also, fun fact, my town was inspired one episode of The X-Files and a full season of American Horror Story. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the town quite yet, but afterward we can talk about that if you would like. Thank God it was not inspired by that, but honestly it wasn't that far off. It's not very charming, not that circuses ever really were. That's my family, right here in the middle. That was me as a baby. I have a younger brother also. I don't have a lot of family photos, so this was just one of the photos I grabbed. And one thing I wanted to talk about is libraries as a sanctuary. This is the library in my old neighborhood, the library that I grew up with, and the library where I got my very first job in libraries. We grew up in poverty in Florida. We didn't have very much money. My parents were teen parents, and I think I was a first-generation high school graduate. I was a first-generation college graduate. I think I'm the first person in my family to have a master's degree or any kind of degree, period. And this place, this library, is a huge reason for me being the way I am. Free access to information. No spoiler here, Florida public schools are known to be the best public schools out there. So if you wanted an education, you had to go to the library. If you wanted access to free resources, you had to go to the library. I wasn't having philosophical, deep conversations with my parents. They were just trying to survive. I went to the library to expand my mind, expand my opportunities, and learn how to do new things. It was huge. And then the first place to ever give me an opportunity to be a librarian, to get out there in the community, and to really find what it's all about, and to find what I'm, really into. Cool. I had a note here. I'm used to speaking with librarians, so if I get too excited about libraries, that's fine. But we're, creatives. I feel like we're in the same realm here. A few other things that are very important to me. Family. I eloped in Iceland. I have 2 beautiful kids, Lachlan and Freya. That's our dog, Stabby Belly. I'm also an adrenaline junkie. I love snowboarding. I'm big into mountain biking. That's one of the reasons I moved here. And adrenaline junkie, I'm going to throw the library thing in there as well. It is a wild world working in libraries. I have so many weird stories to tell over the last 17 years. Meet me for a drink and I'll tell you about the finger in the pocket at the library. Fingers. Yes, fingers, human fingers. It gets weird at libraries. It's a gauntlet. So, again, that's why I am the way I am. I've been working in public libraries for a very long time. they're such sanctuaries, not just to me, but to everyone. Libraries are for everyone. And that's really what I'm going to talk about this morning. So, that was about 5 minutes. Right on track here. Perfect. Libraries are for everyone. For you and you and you and you. I don't know about some of you, but no, libraries are for absolutely everyone, no doubt. Where else can you go where there is no expectation of you to spend money? There's no expectations of you to really do anything other than, mind your business, find a book, behave yourself, and just come to the library. There are very, very few places like that in the world at all. The fact that we serve such a wide range of community members, I'm going to move around a little bit and get fidgety, is mind-blowing. So imagine being a new resident to the country. How are you going to even begin to navigate all that paperwork? Get your driver's license, get your housing set up. It is so much work, so they come to libraries. The unhoused community comes to libraries. People who don't have the traditional means of going through an educational program come to libraries. Have you been to this library? I mean, have you seen the resources that we have here at this library? It is mind-blowing, all of the resources that we have. And well, here we are. We're talking about libraries as a sanctuary and our greatest sanctuary that we have here in Fayetteville. What else do I want to talk about in this? Kids, teachers, lifelong learning, free information. We're bridging the digital divide. We're helping people connect to internet. We're helping people connect to workforce development opportunities. I won't go into the weeds about what we're doing specifically here at the library and our Center for Innovation, but keep an eye out for workforce certifications in the skilled trades. Keep an eye out for kitchen certifications. Keep an eye out for computer training certifications and data analytics and all kinds of great stuff coming to you for free here at your library. Libraries are for everyone. We are the fighters of misinformation. That has been a big thing that we've been doing lately. And are libraries perfect? No. Libraries are run by people. Libraries are often run by city government, so there's bureaucracy and there's issues. But overall, librarians and library staff really care. We wouldn't be here dealing with fingers in the pockets and just all the chaos and the political climate right now with libraries. We wouldn't be doing that if we didn't care. So we're trying to do the best that we can and provide the best community that we can for everyone and provide a sanctuary, again, for everyone. And what I want to talk about a little bit today is what libraries actually do behind the scenes. And there are some very targeted attempts at taking down libraries as a whole. And we'll talk about it a little bit too. Let me make sure I'm good on time. Gotta keep up, or I'm gonna talk really fast and really excitedly. Cool, I'm good. Awesome. All right, so now this is like the serious stuff. Did you know that, for example, librarians are protecting your rights to privacy? Librarians are protecting your rights to free speech and free access. Libraries are protecting your rights to read whatever you want and be represented and see yourself in books and materials in public libraries. Librarians were some of the first people to fight up against the Patriot Act when that came out back in like 2002, 2003. I remember being a very early library employee and getting emails, hearing about emails coming from the state library and directives about how to handle if the FBI comes to the library and asks for someone's search records from the computer or checkout history without a warrant. Like that was us. We were the ones that had to tell the FBI, like, granted, I never had to do this, and I don't think anyone in my library had to do it, but that's what we were talking about, is having to say, no, we're not going to give you someone's records without a warrant. That was a whole part of the Patriot Act that the librarians really stepped up for and fought against. With the rise of book banning happening right now, we've seen record number of book bans. Libraries protect your rights to free speech. These were all, of course, actual articles. And the one with Kansas City was really interesting because that was a library employee who was protecting a library patron's right to free speech because they asked a controversial question during a program, and the person who was presenting the program asked them to leave instead of answering the question. And it became a whole thing, and the library employee as well as the citizen were arrested. So they were arrested for trying to protect his right to free speech in a public forum, like we were in that situation. So it's pretty rough being a librarian right now, but we're still here to make sure that we're protecting all of your rights. And if you ever have a chance, I highly encourage you to check out the Library Bill of Rights. It is a document that libraries look at to kind of refer to. A person's right to the library should not be denied because of origin, background, or views. Libraries should challenge all censorship issues. That's part of our Library Bill of Rights, and I think it's important for the community to know what we're doing here and the guidelines that we are working with. And the Library Bill of Rights comes from our American Library Association, which is our umbrella organization that supports libraries. So one thing I want to talk about is with this record number of book banning increases, it's no surprise that these are the books that are representing diverse communities. The most banned books feature LGBTQ characters or themes, or they are the subject of racial justice issues. Those have been banned a lot. And books that feature any kind of sex education have been banned most frequently in the last couple of years. So it's pretty clear to me that the book banners, are upset that we have books in our collection that people don't agree with. We have lots of books in our collection that I'm sure every single one of you in this room would not agree with. That's not my job to tell you you can't read it. It's not my job to tell you that your kids can't read it. My kids should be able to read it if I think that's appropriate. So this is just a few clips of some libraries under attack. There have been hostile takeovers of library boards by people who only want to harm and end funding of public libraries. That happened actually in Craighead County in Arkansas. Just this past election, Craighead County was the victim of an attack on the library. It started out with a pride display, and it escalated all the way to people getting this on a ballot in Craighead County, and they voted to defund their library by over 50%. So they cut their mill levy, and essentially that is huge for a library, especially out in Jonesboro, Arkansas, that Craighead County area. That is huge. That pretty much makes it inoperable. It's happening all over the country, and something I'm going to briefly talk about is the bill in the Arkansas State Senate right now. I won't go too much into it, but SB 81 is a bill that is out there trying to criminalize librarians and libraries. It's a bill that is guised in a protecting children from obscenity. Spoiler alert, we're not giving any kids obscene materials at libraries. If anything, I would hope that if you have kids and you're really worried about what they're reading, that you're monitoring that as a parent. I know that's what I do. But it's happening. And it is not that wild to think that it could happen here in Fayetteville also. So, I won't get into the details about this, but over the summer, the library experienced, I don't know what to call it. They tried to take us down. They tried to cancel the Fayetteville Public Library. And again, I'm not going to go into the details of what happened, but I did select a couple of my favorite tweets from that whole episode. And this one is the best one I think I've ever read. Never in my life did I think that librarians are going to be a problem I need to consider, but damn it, what the hell is going on at librarian school? I want people to fear us. I do. I want you to worry about the librarians, trying to connect you all to resources and information. We're evil, we're out there to get all of you. That one just cracked me up. I'm like, yeah, what is going on at librarian school? Just, learning about rights and learning about how libraries have to protect your rights. Did you know that your First Amendment rights apply in libraries and that you can access information, whoever you are and what kind of information you want? So this SB 81 isn't going to go very far. It might pass in the state Senate, it might pass completely here in the state of Arkansas, but I certainly see that being taken down because it violates your First Amendment rights to accessing information that you choose to access. In our makerspace, we're navigating some really interesting First Amendment rights there, where your First Amendment right to accessing information applies to freedom of expression too. And because you're in a public space, like a library, you're free to express yourself in our fabrication robotics lab. As long as it doesn't, violate our rules or any laws, you're good to go. So we're always navigating these spaces of freedoms and your rights and your privacy. We're constantly protecting your privacy. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that your libraries are under attack. It is, again, we're not immune to it. We faced a recent battle. It's happening in Arkansas. So what can you do? Well, first of all, you're here at a library in a sanctuary. So step one is you showed up. So that's fabulous. But honestly, show up for our programs. Support us. Come to our events. Keep an eye out for things like this when we host great events like Creative Mornings. Join us at the deli. Eat some food at the deli. Shout out to the deli. They showed up today. That is a spread. And also, I think I heard this morning that their menu's changing. So if you've eaten at the deli before, check it out again. New menu. If you haven't, eat at the deli soon because it's really good food. Really quality food. Be active. Follow us. Follow us on socials. When you see people say mean things to us, be like, not today, Satan, and respond and make sure that they know that their library is supported. But we also recently launched FPL_innovation on Instagram. So if you want to know more about what the Center for Innovation is doing specifically, please follow us there. Volunteer at the library. We're always looking for volunteers, whether it's for one-off events, whether it's for ongoing programming, whether you want to help out in the Center for Innovation every single day. We'd love to have you. Please volunteer. Donate your money. Hey, we always need money. Libraries are always developing new innovative programs. Donate your money, your time, your gently used books to our friends at the library book sale. It goes a long way in supporting us. And then vote. I'm a librarian. I work for a public entity. I will never tell you what to vote for, but keep an eye out. There's always something about libraries coming up on ballots. Whether we're asking for 30 cents more of your property taxes every year, or we're asking you to vote on something that might impact us, like SB 81, although conveniently we don't get to vote on those kinds of things. Surprising, right? So I think I'm pretty good on time for a few questions, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm like 17 minutes. I told myself I wanted to give myself 18 minutes or so. So I know we're all wondering, what was the lie? All right, so before we vote, I'm going to go over these. And again, don't do anything. We're gonna do applause in a second. But is it A, my hometown from your nightmares? B, the lobster boy murder for hire? C, the Icelandic elopement? D, Freya and Lachlan? Or E, the adrenaline junkie, okay? And so I'm gonna ask you to applaud for each of these if you think that's the lie, okay? A, is A the lie?
I hope not.
Makes you feel great about myself. You're like, that's her, freak show right there. B, the lobster boy murder for hire?
I hope not.
C, the Icelandic elopement? Okay. D, Freya and Lachlan? That's weird. And E, adrenaline junkie? All right. And the winner is... Those aren't my kids. I thought that would be funny. Yeah, those aren't my kids. Strangely enough, the lobster boy thing is 100% true. I can give you more details about that at some point if you'd like to learn about it. And I purposely left out the name of my hometown. I know you're all dying to Google it. Please don't judge me once you do. I escaped as soon as I could. But it's Gibsonton, Florida. Gibsonton, Florida. Our police chief was a giant. Our fire chief was a little person. It wasn't uncommon to see the bearded lady hanging out in our neighborhood. And it's a weird place to grow up. We weren't carnival folk. It's a coastal town, and my family comes from a background of commercial fishermen. So that's how they wound up there, but it was really interesting growing up there. Anyway, these aren't my kids. That was a weird thing to do, I know. That's my dog, though. That is my dog. These are my best friend's kids. Your lovely children. And, yeah, I thought it was sneaky. I thought it would be funny and weird. Because I'm weird, right? Here we go. If you want to reach out to me personally, you can follow my professional page if you found this interesting and find things about libraries interesting. You can find me at The Innovative Librarian with those underscores. If you thought this was just the right amount of weird and entertaining and exciting, you can follow my personal page at MelRebel1. And then Rodrigo put himself out there last time and gave his cell phone number. I'm going to do that too. I'm not scared of any of you. But if you have any questions about library things, or you want to talk about censorship issues, or First Amendment rights in libraries, or any of those crazy things that I'm super passionate about, don't hesitate to reach out and hit me up. Yeah, so I think we have time for questions. Questions? You're just stunned. Just too stunned to see. I don't know if you need to share mics, but here you go.
First of all, I just want to say, like, libraries. I think you're talking to the right crowd. And secondly, I really want to know about the fingers. Were they attached? Were they detached? Is there a short version of that story?
Yeah, they were detached. Short story is there was someone unsavory in the library. We knew this person was unsavory, so we had to call the police. I think they had already been trespassed. And when the police showed up, there was a warrant for their arrest. So they searched this person, and they found a finger in their pocket.
Was it their finger?
Nope. It was a nefarious situation, yes.
Could they fingerprint it?
Probably. I think the case was solved in the end. I think that guy's probably in prison now. But this goes to show you we serve everyone at the library, including finger collectors. No. I was going to say, no, it was in Florida. It wasn't. It was actually in Colorado. Should have been Florida. I know. Any other questions?
I have a question. There's a lot of people that I know that are my friends that are not pro, I don't know, reading their own books. What do we tell the people that we care about to get them on the same page? In their page?
Oh, that is tough. A great example that I like to use is just a few months ago, a library board had decided that they were going to tell their library that any sexually explicit books have to be removed. We can't have obscenity in the library, which, mind you, obscenity is a legally defined term, whatever, that's a whole different story. But can't have any, sexually obscene books. They're mostly trying to target LGBTQ and sex ed books. So the library went up them, and they're like, okay, we can do that, and they removed every single cozy romance, every single romance book, every book, every religious book that mentioned any kind of sex for that matter, and I think that's a good way to talk to your friends. It's a very slippery slope. What you find obscene, I probably don't find obscene. I don't find very, very many things obscene, honestly. I mean, you saw where I come from. It takes a lot to face me. But it's just such a slippery slope. And if it didn't happen to us, it can happen to you. It can happen to anyone. And librarians, I don't want to say, again, I'm speaking for myself right now and not the library as a whole, but librarians are like, a little vindictive, like, oh, you're going to cancel our books and cancel us. Well, that applies to everyone. And we make sure that our rules apply to everyone. So if teens or LGBTQ people can't have romance novels, then nobody else can either. And that's the danger of all of this.
Yeah.
That's the danger of all of this. Not to mention not sharing voices and representation of diverse communities. Question, thought?
Yeah, what exactly is a groomer? And is that, so are people implying that by banning or not banning a certain kind of book, you're pushing the opposite agenda?
Yes. Jokingly, I mean, I don't want to say jokingly, we laugh about it behind the scenes because obviously we know that we're not groomers, but there are several of us who work at the library in this room probably who have been called groomers to our faces because we refused to take a certain book off the shelf. Over the summer we were called pedophiles, and it was a wild adventure. That's just the word being thrown around a lot. And that slide, actually, that I had that tweet on, this was about our library. This was actually right before Henry Rollins came to the library. I don't know if you guys know punk rock legend Henry Rollins. It was awesome. But he and I were talking about this because right before he came, this controversy happened, and people started talking about him. Does Henry Rollins support groomers? Well, Henry Rollins and I had a great conversation about this, and in the end, we just landed on people don't know what words mean anymore. They're just, creating these hot button words, these trigger words that they know are going to upset people, and if anything, it really takes away from the real definition of groomer and all those kinds of things. So it's kind of sad in a lot of ways. Yeah, question.
I have a question. Also, people not knowing the definition of words proves the need for libraries.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed, yes. Just say that again, yes.
You mentioned that you need people to volunteer. How would we find out about volunteer opportunities?
Oh yes, please. Go to our website. Pretty much everything library related I talked to you about today, you can be found on our website. So our homepage, that's not our library at all. faylib.org, thank you. So let's finally look. faylib.org is our website. If you scroll down, you can find some information on volunteering. I think there's a link like how to, little drop down box, how to volunteer. And then you can sign up to volunteer. If you want to volunteer for our Center for Innovation, I don't know if there's a checkbox in that form, but if there's not, just put that in the notes, and you can volunteer with us directly. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I have a comment,
Sure.
and maybe it's a question for you, but I have kind of an insider view on the book banning thing.
Please, yeah.
So my work is I help couples stop violence, which is very popular, and so I was working in this home for a family, not in this city, but, 30, 40 hours a week, and we're just stopping violence. So that's what I was hired for. And it was interesting because the parents were very, very concerned about, I don't want the teacher reading books about Halloween to my kids. It's kind of the book banning thing. And because I'm a coach, we have to do the brave things and bring things more my attention. And I was like, hey, do you think that you're so ashamed because of what's going on in your home? The violence between the parents, but also parental violence for children. Do you think that that's so uncomfortable that I'm going to then be so obsessed about my teacher reading books about Halloween to kids? And I have built enough trust that I can say that and bring that to her attention. And I don't think at the time, but later, she was able to acknowledge values of her own head. And I really wonder if that's not what the people is.
That's a really great point, a really interesting thing to bring up. It's almost like maybe it's a situation of control, right? At home, there's so many things beyond their control. Maybe they feel like completely out of control with their kids. They maybe feel a little hopeless, and then they can control, or they think they can control what the teacher's going to teach, what books they can check out of the library. That's really interesting.
I think therapists call it overcompensating.
Sure.
So like there was other.
Like, I can't protect you from this, but I will protect you from Halloween in the books.
Obsessions, like, we have to do this because it won't cause a fire in the house, and like, just like obsessions about like, where you put the cooker because it won't cause a fire, and I'm like, okay, but you're literally like, that woman told me they're still married, they have stopped violence, but we kept a text contract, after the relationship ended, and she was like, if it weren't for you, you're working with me, you would have been one of those stories in the newspaper. And then I've worked at, therapist clinics since then, so it really makes me wonder, like, this overcompensating over here, it's like, is it really about Halloween? Like,
Yeah.
it's not even,
Yeah.
and that's like that actual, so it really makes me wonder about the programming, because it's such a widespread everyday issue.
It is.
And then to make it out like LGBT or something are really the problem. That's not going to hurt your kids.
Yeah, I think you brought up some really great points and some things for me to consider in the future as we encounter censorship and book banning requests. So kind of keeping in mind where the people are coming from when they bring these things up and trying to meet them at some sort of common ground, I think is I don't, yeah, no, you don't. Yeah. But it's something to keep in mind for sure. Maybe they're dealing with more things than we realize, right? Maybe they have more going on, and we always try to approach these situations with grace anyway, but